Good evening, everyone. Last Tuesday I wasn't here, I was in LA. And usually from my experience, when I skip a week, thank you, in my weekly lecture, then the following one is slow. Especially when it's 7 degrees outside. But Baruch Hashem, you are heroes. I wanted to speak about today. Yesterday I spoke enough about the parasha. I want to speak about today about something that's called Derech Eretz. Derech Eretz. There is a very famous Jewish say, Derech Eretz kadma la Torah. Derech Eretz was prior to the Torah. It came before the Torah. In Israel, when people speak modern Hebrew, as I proved in some of the previous lectures, maybe 20-30% at least of the modern Hebrew, it's not what the ancient Hebrew of the Torah. It's different language. Anyway, so some of the words that we use today is basically the opposite of what the Torah meant. For instance, this say, Derech Eretz kadma la Torah. If you ask an Israeli today, even the professor in a Hebrew university, what does it mean, Derech Eretz kadma la Torah? This is a sentence that the secular people in Israel they love it very much. Why? Because in their mind what it means, you should be a human being before you should be a religious Jew. You should have manners. That's more important than to be a Shomer Shabbos or to eat kosher or to love God and to listen to Him. First, you be a human being, which, by the way, it's true. You have to be a human being before you become a religious person. There's no question about that. But that's not what it means. When Chazal said, Derech Eretz kadma la Torah, they didn't mean manners. In the modern language, they call the word Derech Eretz manners, like nimusim, manners. But that's not what the Torah meant. Chachamim, when they said Derech Eretz, they meant a way of life, which means Derech Eretz kadma la Torah, meaning before Hashem gave us the Torah, what took place for 2,400 years in the world? There was no book of law. There was no divine book yet. Only few individuals knew the truth about God. Adam, Noach, Shem, Ever, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, then the Shvatim. That's it. 30, 40 people knew about Hashem from hundreds of millions that lived for the 2,400 years in the world. Most of the people had no idea. Everyone was worshipping a different idol. So how the world was surviving? If there's no book of constitution, there's no laws. So Chazal said, what do you think, that without the Torah there was no constitution? There was constitution, people made roads, people paid taxes, they had armies, they had rules, they had relationships, they make every rule that was logical for them, they made. They had rules. Even Sodom and Gomorrah had rules, the opposite of the justice. But they still had rules. Sodom and Gomorrah had a constitution. The constitution there say that if you take a stick and break your friend's head, he has to pay you the damage. Not you to him, he has to pay you. That's the constitution. You know, that if you want to save the toll, and you go with your camel inside the lake because you don't want to go on a bridge, so you don't want to pay the $14. How much is that now in Varazano? 14? 13. So if you don't want to pay $13 just to cross the lake, so you go with your camel, everything gets wet. By the time you come to the other side of the lake, the police waiting over there, and they charge you double. That's the constitution of Sodom. But they had rules. The rules apply to all citizens. They had a rule, you're not allowed to have guests. If you get caught having guests, you get killed. It's against the law there. Chazal is teaching us the law of Sodom and Amorah. So that's what it means, Derech Eretz kadma la Torah, which means there was already a world, everyone had a way of life, people knew where they lived, they had to guard the place, they have to build walls, they have to, whatever the place needed, they had a leader, and the leader was making rules, and that's the way it was. When the Torah came, we found out a few things that we did not know before. Most of the laws in the Torah, if you really think about it, I'm not talking about the chukim, the chukah, so chukat Torah, this is divine laws, which mean divine logic, divine logic. Divine logic, usually it's always above human being understanding. Red cow, no one would ever know, even King Solomon did not understand. Sacrifices, against human logic. Keeping the Sabbath, against human logic. Don't eat chametz and Pesach, against human logic. Sit in a sukkah, against human logic. Have lulav, against human logic. None of these laws are human. No one would ever know the secrets of this law. It looks very strange for a person from the outside. Imagine now a goy pass by, or an Israeli kibbutznik that never saw in his life religion. He walks now in Tel Aviv and he sees a few Chabadnikim go on the street like this in Tel Aviv. What is he thinking? Wow, miserable people, poor guys. Wow, I feel so bad for them. Doesn't understand. If you see them having a sukkah on a truck, and they drive and they sit in a sukkah, I'm with the religion done. Why? It looks very strange. I cannot deny it. We're not talking about the divine laws. Divine laws are full of secrets. We're talking the logical laws, which means laws that between man to man, or laws of society, for instance, should not kill. We need Torah for that. After Cain killed Abel, everyone in the world knew it's not a good thing to kill. You don't need Torah for it. You don't need Torah for it. Do you need a law to know that you're not allowed to steal what does not belong to you? Your friend worked, he got paid, and you come and you steal it. You need Torah for it? You need Torah. Without it, you would not know you should not steal. If God would not give us the Torah and the Ten Commandments and all the laws, we would not know we're not allowed to steal? Of course we would know. It's human logic. Respect your parents. You need Hashem to tell you that your father and mother who gave their life for you, you have to respect them. I always say, Tony respects Vinny, the mafia. He respects his father. Why? His father gave him money, put him in a business, you know, taught him how to kill. So he has, he has respect for him. Bottom line, most of the laws people would know anyway. They would know anyway. There's a law, Tzar Ba'alei Chaim. You should not be cruel to animals. You need Torah for it. You see how the kids sometimes torturing the cats. Every normal person who passes by gets shocked. What are they doing, the kids, you know? So this is things that it makes sense. It's human logic. But there are certain things that I would like to talk about that not every person pay attention to. For instance, eating in public. We'll talk about a lot of unique laws that most religious people do not pay attention to. Eating in public, it's not derech eretz. Sitting in a bus and eating his pita, his china, hummus all over his face like this, and if he has a beard it makes it worse, because all the pieces, climb on a tree. It goes like this, and all these fancy schmancy people who, as it is, don't like religion. You just give them 500 reasons to hate it even more. Wow, barbaric. You have to think before what you do. That's called Chilul Hashem. Most of the lack of manners fall in a category of Chilul Hashem, which, by the way, it's the worst category of the Torah. Chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem, just for you to understand, there is a list of sins that the Torah names. And the Torah teach how you correct each sin. Some sins easy to correct. 1, 2, 3, you correct. Some sins very difficult. Some sins, even if you did everything proper, you regret, you ashamed, you never repeat it. You make confession every day. Yom Kippur passed. You did tshuva on Yom Kippur. After all that, still is not erased, the sin. Why? You still need to receive suffering. Look in the Rambam, Ilchot Tshuva, laws of repentance. You must receive sufferings. Which kind of sins? Sins that a person did, which is called Isurei Karet. Every place the Torah says the soul get cut out of the afterlife, out of the eternal life. Once the Torah says the soul get cut, if a person made repentance, the soul got reconnected. But this reconnection, it's very painful. Person must receive suffering as replacement for the disconnection. That's the rules that Hashem made. There's nothing you can do against it. That's why I always tell people, yes, you tell me now that you know the truth. You also tell me that for sure you will do tshuva. It's just a matter of time. But you one thing forget, that even if you're right, and you will do tshuva in 1 year or in 2 years from now, you're going to have a lot more suffering coming, because you continue to do X amount of sins, and the suffering will only accumulate. So what do you gain by that? So the idea is not today, yesterday. If I told you today to do tshuva, start from yesterday. Why? Every day you wait, not to talk about the fact that now it becomes intentional sin. Up to now, maybe you did not know, what you're doing 100%. Now, after someone taught you, you know exactly that it's a sin. It makes it even worse. So, there's one sin, that even Yom Kippur, even suffering does not erase. What is it? Chilul Hashem. Only after the person passed away, he has a chance that its sin will be erased. But as long as he's alive, the sin is pending. It's critical. That's why we got to be very, very careful when it comes to Chilul Hashem. I'll give a few examples. I'm sure you're going to see that some of them, it happens to us almost every day. First, eating in public. A person that comes from the nation of God, each one of us is a son or a daughter of God, as the Torah says, Banim atem laHashem Elokechem. We don't have the privilege to behave the way the Gentiles can do. Ahmed wants to eat in the street, there's no problem. It's not violating any rule. Chris wants to do it. Even the Father John from the biggest church in the world wants to eat falafel on the street. No problem whatsoever. Obama wants to walk without his shirt, putting his legs on his desk and eating falafel in front of the camera. There's no problem. Not violating any rule. It's disrespect for his title as a president of the biggest empire in the world, supposedly. But can you say he's a sinner? No, not a sinner. A Jew can be a sinner by doing certain things that other people would look at that badly. Look at this religious Jew, how he eats. Sits on a bus, on a train, and eats his breakfast. Cannot eat at home 10 minutes before you leave, or when you come to the office, find yourself a corner and eat. So that's one thing. Second thing, a person that known in public as a Jew, he must make sure always never to eat food that has bad smell, bad breath, such as onion, garlic, and all kinds of things like that. Even though it's very delicious, even though you constantly hear that it's very healthy, you want to eat it before you go to bed. Yes, you eat it before you go to bed. Nobody has to smell you. But if you want to eat it, I tell you, yesterday I went to a place, I sat in a place, and a guy with a, with the yarmulke came, sat right next to me, maybe 4 feet from me. I promise you I could not breathe. I just couldn't breathe. Now I'm thinking to myself, now he sat down, I get up and move to another chair, he'll know why. It's also embarrassing. But it's not my fault, it's his fault. That's what the Torah says. Now, 2 brothers, one brother forgive the other. What happens if he sits next to Ahmed? Ahmed will make a party, tell all his friends and other people. No wonder why you hear on the news all kinds of derogatory comments about the smell of some people, You have to be very careful. So, you're not allowed to eat, like I said, if you're alone, you went on vacation, you're in your isolated home in a forest, eat raw garlic from morning to night. No one is there, no problem. But if you go to work, you work in a bank, you meet people, you're a salesman, you meet people, you're a doctor, you're a dentist. Imagine a dentist come and a patient sits on a chair and he breathes on him. Open big. Why is not moving? So the nurse say, I think he fainted. He never thought of it. He doesn't think. A person has to be very, very careful what he eats. Also chewing gum, especially ladies, is very not modest. If a man is alone, he wants to chew gum. Sometimes a person is falling asleep. When he learns Torah, the gum keeps him up. No, if that's the reason, fine. If it's in front of people, it's not derech eretz. Now, when you sit in someone's table, if you sit by yourself, this is your home, you're alone in a meal, nobody watch, fine. You can do whatever you want in a meal, you can eat. You can take from one spoon from every other plate. Well, what happens if it's called double dip? You come to someone's house, and you take your plate, and you take a little bit from the hummus, and then from the salad, and then you taste a little bit, and you take from there. The most disgusting thing in the universe. And there are people now who just saw you putting it in your mouth, and you put it inside it, and this whole dish has to go to the garbage. Also, when you do kiddush, you have guests. Don't drink from the glass and then give it to them. Not everyone wants to drink from your mouth. The Gemara says that if someone left water in his cup, don't drink from it, it can kill you. 2,000 years ago, they already knew about germs, before Louis Pasteur. Before. So the Gemara says, unless if you boiled it. So they know it's going to kill the germs. But today, a person can drink from the mouth, his germs go in, if he's sick, he has some kind of thing, he goes to someone else, it's contagious. So what do? You make Baruch Ata Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam borei pri hagefen, you spill, you fill up another glass, 3/4 full for the people, you make the bracha borei pri hagefen, you pour a little bit to the other cup, and then you drink in one shot, the leftover. You don't taste from it and then you give to people, like most people do. It's not derech eretz.
What about kosher bracha? People like weddings and Satan Kala?
Same thing. Same thing. If there's a way to pour a little bit to another glass and then drink, then the people take from the clean glass. Not everyone wants to taste from other person's mouth. Now, person sits in a table and blow his nose. Like an elephant. You come, you invite guests for your house, the whole Shabbat, you have an elephant in your living room. You know, not one thing is to be an elephant, the next thing you have the Everest mountain full of tissues on your table. His plate is here, there's a pile over here. It happens sometimes in a shul. People blow, they're lazy to go back to look for garbage, so they live in the meantime until they finish. So 3-4 hours, all the people who sit in that table before, after, walk around, they see a pile of tissues. It's not derech eretz, ma. It's no kavod. Things like this, a person has... excuse me?
Human logic.
You don't put tissues after... People that clean their nose with a tissue must put it in a garbage, not on a table. There's no permission to leave it on the thing. Also, when a person drinks his soup, don't go like this. Don't go like this. Not when you drink tea, not when you drink coffee, not when you drink your soup. A person that sits with his wife in someone's table will never give compliments to the cook. If, for instance, a person went with his wife to his friend and his wife, and the host, the woman, she's a very good cook, better than his wife. And he has no permission to tell the woman there, wow, you're such a great cook, and this and this and that, when his wife over there, because the way of the ladies are, they take it to the heart. He never told me that I cook good. You know? So if she went to the shower or to the bathroom for 5 minutes, then he can say. By the way, it's not to her, to her husband. Baruch Hashem, the food is extra delicious. She already heard. She clapped herself in the kitchen already. Don't worry about this. Then, a person that needs to spit. Let's see, he has something he has to spit. Doesn't want to swallow it. He has to make sure nobody looks. He goes to a corner, a place that nobody sees. If he has tissue, better to spit inside and put it in the garbage. If he can, he has to spit somewhere else, and he has to cover it right away. Why? Even 5 minutes later, someone walks and sees it on the floor, he gets disgusted from it. It's also not derech eretz. Maybe he saw you from far away. And even if no one saw you, that's another problem. What you hate people doing to you, don't do to others. it falls into that category. Then, sometimes people stand on the chairs. They go to a lecture and a speaker came, Gdol Ador, and they want to see him or take pictures, so they stand with their legs on the chair and they take pictures. And the legs usually are full of dust. Okay, no problem. You stood, it's already a problem. Clean it. After you got off, clean the chair. Somebody else has to sit on it. One more thing, to be very careful never to cheat on lines. People stand on line, airports, restaurants. You know, sometimes a person call and he make reservation, right, or an appointment, and then he comes, he see a line. Not everyone knows he made a reservation. He try to cut the line, they get angry. So now you say, but he didn't do anything wrong. That's why the restaurant allow you to make a reservation. If you go, you're right. But if you're a Jew, you have to be extra sensitive, extra careful, because remember, people look at you with very big magnifying glass. Sometimes it's better to wait another 10 minutes than the people think you cheated on the line. Why? It's Chilul Hashem. It's no joke here when it comes to that. When a person speaks, it has to be not too loud, not to speak loud in a room. When a person prays in a shul, he is not permitted to raise his voice more than the chazan. There's a cantor. If he comes to a Litvi shul, when the cantor is speaking very low, you have to whisper. What can you do? You come to Stalin, when everyone screams, you can scream, no problem. You come to Sfaradi, you have to pay attention. Sometimes you scream, sometimes you whisper, depend. You have to match yourself to the audience. But sometimes you come to places, like I was in LA now, they took me to a place. Every one of the people in the crowd is a Shliach Tzibur. 300 Shliach Tzibur in a room. Ooh, you cannot know who is the Shliach Tzibur. Kaddish over here, Kaddish over there, screaming, this. What's going on? Nobody cares that the other one cannot pray. As long as he can scream. Hashem, Baruch Hashem, is not deaf. He hears very well if you don't scream, don't worry. The idea is that the words come from your heart. Doesn't have to scream at all. Even when it says that a person say Amen Yeshme Rabbi with all his kocho, with all his strength, doesn't mean to scream, to blow out the room. No, because kocho means with all his intention and attention, that it comes from the heart. A person should never speak in public dirty. Ever never to speak, but in public it becomes a lot worse. Even words that are in the American society are not considered so bad. Even those words, we have to be a complete clean mouth. We have to be careful. When a person comes to someone's house, is not allowed to offer the kids any food, no candy, no chocolate, not even things from the table. You don't know the restrictions in the house. Maybe they're not allowed Coca-Cola, maybe they're not allowed chocolate, maybe they're allergic to eggs. You're not allowed to offer the kids anything unless if you ask the mother permission. Can they eat this? Quietly, not when they hear. And then they begin to scream that they want it. You allow them to eat this, you allow them to eat that. Sometimes it's a matter of kashrut. One person eats OUD, this family doesn't eat, or the other way around. You have to check. You have to be very careful. I know a baby that his mother had very hard time raising him because he did not want to breastfeed because one of the guests gave him a little cola. When he was 6 months old, he put Coca-Cola in his mouth, that's it. Now he wants only cola. Now he doesn't want milk anymore. You know? Yes, the mother went crazy. When a person speaks, we have to, I know it's sometimes very difficult, especially when some people forget that they have to stop at one point. You cannot talk forever. You have to do everything you can not to break into his words. This is a very big indication if the person has manners or not. If he waits until the other one finish. And that's one of the hardest things to do.
Even when they're learning?
No, learning is a different story. I'm not talking when people talk one to another. Then, sometimes a person argues with another person and he admits, okay, you're right. Okay, you're right, you're right. But the way he say it, it's worse than not to admit. So if a person speaks, always should be calm, never raise his voice, never do moves of anger. And if his friend did something wrong, he has to tell him quietly, nicely, you know what you did, you know, I heard it's not correct, I heard it's not allowed. Usually when you come to tell a person something that you know he may not like to hear, you have to make sure you give him 3-4 compliments before. You know, I realize you're the first one who arrived to shul, you pray so nicely, but you should know your tefillin should be towards the heart, not to the other side. Why? Because you don't know how high is his ego. You have to be very careful. Not everyone can accept musar today or correction. Then a person should never leave the house with stain on his clothes. A person has to make sure his clothes are always clean. He doesn't have dirty color, he doesn't have tons of danger off on his jacket. His hair is not greasy and oily because he doesn't wash it. He wash it once a week. The days of Chazal are over, Baruch Hashem. You don't have to take a shower once every other week. The old days was very difficult to bring water from the lake. Today you press a button, you have a shower. 5 minutes you can take a shower every day. There's no reason to leave the house smell oily, greasy, dirty, or not to do laundry to your clothes. Person should always smell clean, that whenever he go, no one would ever get disgusted from him. Now, it's not only between him and stranger, it's between him and his own wife. The wife sometimes can suffer from her husband 20 years and she's embarrassed to tell him, or the other way around. So a person has to think, a part of being religious means that everyone would only think positive about me in every different territory.
Rabbi, how come religious people, I'm also religious, some of them don't have any manners? With all due respect, I do, especially the yeshiva guys. I'm not already said it.
You know what it is? We expect the religious people in the world to be perfect. Reality shows that it's far away from being reality. It's not, no one is perfect. I sometimes find people from yeshiva with very, very high class and manners and great derech eretz. Sometimes you find kids that are not so, you know, they have some chutzpah. Sometimes a person normally has manners, but maybe you caught him in an hour that he was frustrated and upset and depressed and who knows what, and he reacts in a different way than normal. You know, sometimes people just so deep in the Torah that they forget to think about what's happening around. Like if you give them a ride, their mind is so much in the Gemara. There are people like this, that they constantly learn, whether they're in a yeshiva, whether they're in the street, their mind is so deep in the Torah. You can give them a ride, and they arrive to a place, and they come out of your car, they close the door, they don't even say thank you, which obviously they're not that bad, but their mind is in a different world. It's not always good to judge people. We are now giving advice. Who am I to teach manners? I'm far away from it, but I'm reading to you from the book. It's a mutual shiur for all of us. And most of the things I'm going to tell you now, you probably even knew it, or it makes a lot of sense to you, but we're just not paying attention to it, that's all. So if we will start to pay more attention to it, the world will become a better place. Now, sometimes a person is eating by a poor family, which means you see that they serve the plates directly from the kitchen to every person, already with one piece of chicken in it. Why? Because they cannot afford to put 20 pieces on a table. So they already serve a little bit, 1 spoon of rice, little piece of chicken, maybe half a potato. You see how they serve it to the plate. Okay, so now a person like this, he has to understand that this family they are very tight. So he has to make sure that the member of the family have enough food before he begins to eat. Sometimes you show up, they didn't count on you to stay for dinner. It's called סעודה שאינה מספקת לבעליה. Chazal spoke very, very strongly about this manner. That's, well, in the old days it was more common because there was a lot of poor people. You just show up, they don't have, so they give you the food of one of the children, or the wife don't eat because she's embarrassed what she's going to serve. So you have to say, I'm very sorry, I just ate. Don't worry about the lie. It's not a lie. It's lie for the sake of peace, not to embarrass them. So I'm very full, I can't eat. If you know you come to a very wealthy house, they have plenty of food, no problem, you join them. If you see, it's a tight family. When you go to someone's house and they give you a room, you're not allowed to touch the heat, you're not allowed to touch the air condition before you ask permission. It costs a lot of money, these things. Not everyone can pay the bills. When you leave the house, you have to make sure all the lights are off, nothing on the floor. You have to make sure. When you sleep in someone's house, even for one night, you're not allowed to leave the room before you fix the bed. You put the blankets, you put everything, you hang the towels, you make the room exactly as it was, like when you got it. And if it wasn't so organized when you got it, you make sure it's 100% organized when you leave, because they won't remember that 3 days ago when you moved in, it was a mess. They won't remember. They will remember that you left it as a mess. So you don't say, oh, that's the way I got it, so well, I'm going to start cleaning the house now? The answer is yes. Why? Because when you leave, the reputation would stay there forever. And that's it. You don't have that much of a choice.
So do you just take out the linen for what you slept on as well? Because they, you slept on their beds, and so should you take out the linen after you leave?
Well, if the linen was on, you're not supposed to take it off. No, I mean... Well, I didn't ask you to go and do laundry for them. אל תהיה צדיק הרבה. שלמה המלך says, hey, everything has a limit. Remember the story? Oh, actually, yesterday I told the story. The one guy decided, you know, I'm going to be very strict. And I'm not going to eat matzah on Pesach. Why? There's always a chance the matzah, when they bake it, maybe they waited more than 18 minutes and the dough rised. And now it's chametz. You know what? I only eat 2 ounces of matzah in the night of the Seder, and the entire 8 days in America I don't touch matzah. Why? What's taking a risk? Then he started to think, wait a minute, but then kitniot, and cookies is the same thing, all the Pesach cookies. There's really nothing to it. Rice we don't need, this, that. Talking about Ashkenazi, if you didn't realize. It's really, so he's thinking to himself, you know what, I don't want to take a risk. What am I going to eat? So there's this true story of one person who decided to eat the entire Pesach nuts, hazelnuts. They have hard shell. He said, no chametz can go inside. That's it. I break the shell and I eat nuts the entire 8 days. So there was one Gentile who supplied him a bag of nuts, big bag of nuts, one day before Pesach every year. And these nuts, he were eating them and they're making him full. One day this Gentile died and his son took over. And he said to his son, you know, you have to get me the... He said, yeah, my father has a list what to do. Customers, we don't play with customers. So he gave him a big bag of nuts. Looks the same, everything the same, fine. But that Pesach, the Jew was hungry non-stop. Eat more nuts, more nuts. Wow, I'm still hungry. What's going on? After Pesach, he came to this Gentile. He said to him, listen, when your father used to give me the nuts, I ate few of them, and right away I was full. Now I'm eating them, and eating, I don't feel anything. So he said to him, oh, I tell you why. My father had 2 businesses. One, he was growing nuts and selling them. The second one, he was raising pigs. So what happened? He used to take the fat of the pigs and make oil from it. And then he put all the nuts with the shell for months inside the oil, and it absorbed the fat of the pig, and it gives the nuts delicious smell. And that's why you're full, because it was absorbed with so much oil. True story. He wanted not to eat maybe chametz. I just say, hey, don't be a show-off, my friend. Everything has a limit. He fed him. By the way, those who eat pizza in a non-kosher pizza store, they always eat pork. For few reasons. Why? In every pizza store they sell pepperoni. So they put it so it touches the plates, the oil of it, in the cooking. So that's one thing. And even if it's a pizza store that does not sell pepperoni on a pizza, they have pork oil that they take with a brush and they put in the pans. That's what the Italian pizza, it gives it very good taste. One guy that works in a pizza store told me that's their secret. They put oil, you know, they have to put oil, some kind of oil they have to put on a pan so that it doesn't get stuck. So he said that they have pork and they put it. So now an Israeli guy comes to New York, he says, what's pizza? What is it? Dough, tomato sauce, and cheese. What can be not kosher here? These religious people are so fanatic. So what happened in the end? Every slice is like eating chazir. You tell this Israeli guy, you want to eat chazir for lunch? Crazy? Chazir? I'll die, I won't eat. You just ate chazir a minute ago. I had a friend, I told him, why you eat not kosher? In a Chinese restaurant in Queens. He told me, don't worry, I only eat chicken. I don't eat pork. I told him, you fool. This chicken was cooked in the same pot with the pork. A minute ago they took the pork, now they use the oil for chicken.
In Israel they have meat on it now.
Really?
In Israel they have meat and cheese.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah? I haven't been in Israel 24 years, you know, I live here. When I was a kid, they didn't have it. But now they have 800,000 from Zera Amalek. They occupied Israel. They like to eat pork. Okay, anyway, so I told him, well, what, you just ate chicken. Well, first of all, the chicken is not kosher. It's not a kosher chicken. It wasn't slaughtered. They kill it, I don't know, with electric, whatever they do. So that's number one. Number two, even if it was glad kosher Empire chicken from Costco, let's say the Chinese restaurant order from Empire. No, let's say. Not going to pay double, but let's say. Now, as soon as they put it in the oven, they just put, but it gets much worse. Chinese people have a love to eat rats and cats. When they have a lunch break, they go inside the kitchen. Where they cook their cat? The same oven that you just ate from.
In America?
In America, for themselves. They're not allowed to serve it. In my own eyes, I saw one time 6 Chinese eating with their heads a cat. 2 legs like this, 2 like this, and they eat it like this. You know, when the Thailandi came to Israel, within 1 year, half of the dogs disappeared in Israel. The Israelis said, well, all the dogs disappeared. They had the dogs.
How far you think this happened in a kosher Chinese restaurant?
Not kosher! Kosher Chinese. No, kosher, they have mashgiach. The mashgiach already warned them. The mashgiach watched them, the supervisor in kosher Chinese. Believe me, there's a reason why you pay extra for kosher. Most of the time. Not always, most of the time. So, I give you an example. The Gemara says, Rabbi, he wrote the Mishnah. One time he gave shiur Gemara in his yeshiva. One person ate raw garlic. One of the students, he didn't know which one. Sharp, bad smell come from somewhere. So in the middle of the class, think about it. He said, the one who ate garlic, please leave the class. So one guy got up, everyone got up. So look how beautiful this story, we learn a lot from this story. First, we learn that even though the Gemara say that if you embarrass your friend in public, it's one of the worst things you can think of, like murdering him. Or, and we are talking one of the most righteous people in the history. That the Gemara say, who deserves to be the Mashiach, the Messiah? Everyone agree, him. He deserved to be the Mashiach. He was a perfect human being. The biggest Chacham, the greatest manners, comes from a royal family of King David and a multi-billionaire. With all the skills that a person needs, power, humble, Baal Tzedakah, all the poor people eat from his table from morning to night, non-stop, all year round. Lived 120 years, full life, couldn't be better. And he is the one who says someone who ate garlic leave the class. Why? No one can concentrate from the bad smell. The power of the Torah is more important than the embarrassment of an individual. Please leave. You learn for the next time not to repeat this mistake. But here comes the beauty of the rest of the students. They didn't want that person to be embarrassed, so everyone got up. So he says, I ate, but only one ate, and they all left the class. The next day, son saw him on the street. He knew he was the first one who got up, so he knew it's him. Told him, you ruined my father's class. So he told him, God forbid, I wasn't the one who eating garlic. But as soon as he said that, I was the first one who got up. So we see here that this is not just an advice to have manners. This is mamash a serious thing here. Let's give a few more examples. Sometimes a person goes to a wedding and everyone stands around the chuppah and they block the way for all the people. They see the audience and they stand like 5-6 people and they block the whole thing. It's also not derech eretz. You want to stand on the side, not in front of the people. Sometimes a person is about to take a picture and you walk in front of him. It's very common in Kotel HaMa'aravi because everyone stands and everyone comes and they walk in. So I asked one person, you don't see that he takes in? Why do I care about this Chinese guy? What is the matter? Chinese, Arab, Scandinavian, or Jew? What is the matter? There's no manners here. Everyone is standing for the picture. Itzik walks in with his earring. Oh, Mr. Lee took the ear of Itzik with his earring. Why? Now what is this Chinese, he never know. Now he's going to go back to China and 1.5 billion Chinese will know the Jews have no manners. What is this? You have to think about it. A person come to a new shul. He's a guest for Shabbat. You don't just pick a chair and you sit. Some of the chairs belong to ordinary people who pray here for years. You ask who is the Gabbai, who is in charge. And you tell them, I'm new here, can you tell me where to sit? You don't catch a seat. There's rabbis, the Talmidei Chachamim, there's people that like their children to sit next to them. You cannot do mitzvah ba'avera. You want to do mitzvah and you make a sin at the same time by taking someone's chair and he cannot focus on his praise because now he has to stand somewhere. It doesn't work this way. You have to ask permission. When they tell you, we want you to pray for us, you have to refuse. Not right away jump. Everyone will see my beautiful voice now. No. Say, no, it's okay. Give someone else. Twice. If they insist, third time, you say, okay. If you can pray. Not everyone can pray. A person should never drink from the bottle in front of people. You're alone, you can drink from the bottle, it's no problem. With other people in front of you, they may look at that in a bad way, even though it's silly, because what's the difference, bottle or glass? It's really, but this is the acceptable way. If you come in front of Queen Elizabeth, you won't drink from the bottle, right? It's not kavod. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is more important than her. So you think twice before you do that. If a person take a book from the shelf in a shul, in yeshiva, and in someone's house when you get there for Shabbat, you cannot leave the book and leave. You must put it back where you took it from. Why? Because it's stealing time from people. Tomorrow a person comes to the shelf, he looks for the book, it's not there. Now what is he going to do? He's going to search the entire shul now for half an hour to look for it? So you have to make sure whatever you take, you put back. Everything you take, you put back. When you drink, it's better to drink politely, not like this. Pick up your hair, like Esav, open his mouth, and Yaakov poured the entire pot into his throat. No. You drink once, twice, 3 times, not one shot and the whole neighborhood hear you.
Drink in the street.
Drink in the street is no problem. No problem. Chazal say someone who eats in a market, when all the people walk by, הרי הוא דומה לכלב, behave like a dog. That's what the dogs do. Dogs in front of everyone, they don't care. And it's not derech eretz to eat when he walks on the street. If he eats in a restaurant, better to sit inside than on the street that everyone who pass by look at you how you eat on your plate. Better. Inside is better. When someone gives a speech, no one is allowed to open books in the middle and look inside. If you don't want to be in a speech, make sure you leave before he starts speaking. Once he started the speech, you're not allowed to leave unless if you have a real emergency. Why are you insulting a person? Sometimes it's very common that you have two speakers speak in a seminar or something like this, one after the other. So the first one is more popular than the other. So as soon as you finish and the second one begin, half of the people get up and leave. Now sometimes they only go to the bathroom for a minute and come back. That's also very insulting, because the speaker, he doesn't know why you left the room. He thinks this guy spoke right away they left, which means it's a big insult for him. So what do? You wait 5-10 minutes. You see it, then you leave a minute if you must. If you can stay, you stay. You better not to leave. You leave a minute, you come back, that's what it is. But definitely not to put the head down, not to play with the phone, not to read inside the book. The worst can be that when your phone is ringing in the middle of a lecture, it happens to me hundreds of times, there's always a wise guy in the middle. Hello? No? Yeah? And the whole thing hears him now. What's going on? This is the get up, go run outside and pick up. We'll give you the benefits of the doubt that you're an important doctor, you got a call. Why do you pick up in the middle of the lecture? Someone who smokes, which is a horrible habit, real horrible, have to make sure not to smoke in front of people. So if you want to smoke, obviously he has to go on the street. But even when you go on the street, if there's an accumulation of people in one place, you don't go near them. You stand a little far. Not everyone can stand it. People who don't smoke suffer very much from smokers. If someone started to tell a story, bunch of friends, and you know the story, you're not allowed to continue the story. Even if he made a mistake, you don't say anything. Until in the end, when he's done with the story, you say, I heard it in a different version. You make the corrections in the end. You don't tell ever a person in his face in public, you're wrong. You later tell him on the side, by the way, what you said is not 100% correct. I heard that it's such and such and such. If it's your father, you're not allowed to make a beep when he talks. And you don't ever sit in his chair. And when he can enter the house, you rise. Also to your mother. And it says, the question is now, what happens if you have a brother that is older than you, and he did not find a girl to marry, and you found a girl to get married? He's 24 and you're 22 and you're ready to get married. Are you obligated to wait until your older brother will get married first and then you get married? The answer is not. If your brother already found a girl and he wants to get married in 4 months from now, and you already want to get married in 2 months, but because he wants to get married in 4 months, and it would postpone your marriage by 3-4 months, because you want to, that's a different story. It's no big deal. You wait a little bit. If he doesn't have shidduch, who knows, maybe he will find his shidduch in 10 years from now. So what are you going to do? You hold your girl for 10 years on hold because he didn't get married? How do you know what Hashem plans for him is? Chas v'shalom, maybe he'll die single. What do you know? So you're going to stay single because your older brother did not get married? So there's no obligation whatsoever. What happens if the parents pressure you? You have to take them to the, don't fight. Just take them to the rabbi to put some wisdom in their mind to understand that it's the wrong thing to do. If the parents want to teach the daughter how to behave when she becomes an adult, when she's arriving to age 12, 13, she's about to become a woman, it's better the wife will teach her what the father wants to teach her. It's not so good for a father to speak about things like this with his own daughter. So it's better he's going to tell the wife, and the wife go and explain to her what's about to happen, how she should do, what she should not do, etc. Even though the Gemara brings that Rav Nachman used to teach his daughters how to behave when they are intimate with their own husbands. Why? Because he knew the secret to a happy marriage when a woman acts as a woman, not as a cleaning lady or as a mother. That's also important. It's important to be a mother. It's important to be a good cook. It's important to be to clean and to make sure the house is always organized. But that's only a part of marriage. A different part of the marriage, the wife must be a wife, which means she has to be, as I said in one of the lectures, we see from the grandson of Chonia Maagel that his wife used to get very beautiful when he comes from work and comes to the street to welcome him. And the Rabbanim ask him why she puts herself so pretty at 6 in the evening. She comes like this to the street. What? She says she wants to be pretty for me that I will never have to look at another woman. This is holiest people in history we're talking, not people of today when the world is so parutz. So what do we see? Part of the obligation of a woman is to act as a woman. Some women, after a few years of marriage, they neglect themselves. They don't care. They begin to gain weight. They don't care about their look anymore, nothing. Once in a while they go to a wedding, so they try to cover whatever they can. And that's definitely not a segula for a successful marriage. Sometimes the wife thinks, my husband is an angel. He learns Torah all day. He doesn't care about these things. You'll be very surprised. From 100 people who learn in yeshiva, 99% of them, if you connect them to a lie detector and ask them, do you care if your wife will be pretty for you and not overweight, etc., etc., what's the answer going to be? Of course. With the lie detector, he won't be able to lie. Without the lie detector, he says, pretend it's the Chazon Ish. Well, who cares about these things? I'm Torah. A few years ago, Rav Ovadia Yosef, Zecher Tzadik Libracha, started to scream in the middle of his lecture. He almost choked. He was an old man already. Started to cough and to choke. He got so angry. Why? Because he started to talk about Bachurei Yeshiva today, when they date girls, and the girls say to them, we don't want to cover the head with a wig. We want to cover the head fully, no wigs. And they refuse to marry them. So he started to scream, this is Talmidei Yeshiva? This is big wicked Reshaim. Started to scream, this is Rasha Merusha. Hello, Yirat Shammai. You should see what he was saying. If you only knew the other things that they have in their mind. Baruch Hashem, he didn't know. He lived a few more years thanks to that. If he knew, he would take it so much to his heart, because when he was a Talmid Yeshiva, it was a different world. It wasn't like today. I once told you a story. I know a girl, a daughter of my friend. She went on a shidduch with Bachur Yeshiva. He did not marry her because she refused to go with high heels. It sounds like a joke. A guy who claimed that he's a Gemara learner turns to be the biggest lowlife. Doesn't want to marry the girl, and you should see what a girl he missed. I have no question in my mind, for millions of years they will cry for this mistake. Well, Hashem sent her an angel, a great tzaddik, but just to show you how far it can go. So I'm not telling you high heels and fancy wigs and all this nonsense. No, just to be a wife, that's all. Now, a person should not be too tough with his wife, too strict, not to scream, not to make faces. Sometimes a person never raises his voice, but his face is already worse than a murderer. Just give her this look. You know, there used to be a king that everyone who came and served him, he paid him 3 times more. Let's say $10,000 an hour, $30,000 an hour. Just being a waiter. But everyone knew, you make one mistake in the king's table, if he gives you the look, execution. The next day, they hung the person. So one Jew, 16 years old, he said, I need a job, urgent. I heard the king is looking for a waiter. I told him, you're crazy. He said, well, why? I need money, and he pays good money. I work 10 hours a day, $300 a day, I make good money. And you'll be dead in a week. What's the point? Oh no, I'll be extra careful. Everyone thinks, li ze lo ikre. It won't happen to me. I'm safe. So he went 1 hour into the job, they give him a big bowl of soup, he comes towards the king, one tiny spark somehow flew right into the king's tie. The king looks at the tie, he gives him such a look, the entire audience already knew. Somebody got up, itgadal, itkadash, the Jew is finished. Everyone, oh, that's it. Poor kid. 1 hour on a job. Didn't even make $10 yet. So what did the Jew do? He took the entire bowl of soup, right to the face of the king. The king got up, soaked with soup. What? We don't wait for tomorrow. Take him now. Everyone follow me to see what we do to him. They put the rope around his neck. Then the king started to say, how can it be that this boy, so arrogant, such chutzpah, nerve like this, spilled the soup in my face? I have to find out where he got this chutzpah from. So he said to him, tell me before we chop your head off, just one thing I want you to tell me. How did you have the nerve to spill the soup? In a history, no one did such thing. In the face of a king? He told him, you got it wrong, your majesty. I really love you very much, that's why I did it. So, oh, sure, with lovers like this, who needs enemies? So he said to him, listen, I went so carefully to serve you with the soup. What can I do? One spark went, that's it. When you gave me that look, everyone already know the deal here. So I said to myself, after he'll kill me for doing nothing, everyone would talk against him for years. What a cruel king, what a murderer. I was worried about your reputation. So I said, you know what, let me give him a real reason to kill me. But no one will speak ever against you. Everyone will hate me. And they say, we have the greatest king. Right, he took the rope off his neck. Come with me. Made him like his stepson. On that story, the Ben Ish Chai said 100 years ago, and he said, Chaim ve'amavet beyad halashon. Life and death depend on the tongue, on the mouth of a person. So now, a person come into people's house in a day of snow, rain, mud. When he walks inside, he see beautiful rugs, fancy house. Take the shoes off. They may get embarrassed to tell you to take the shoes off, but you should think about it yourself, especially if you see their shoes is there. They don't want to make the rugs dirty. Walks with his mud all over the rugs. Sometimes a person walks in and he asks the housewife, should we take the shoes off? She's embarrassed to say yes. So she said, whatever you're comfortable with. What does it mean? Take it off immediately. Don't be a fool. Whatever you like. It happened to us this Shabbat, last Shabbat. Someone asked the lady, should we take the shoes off? Whatever you feels like. Say to him, Maher, take the shoes off. Then, when a person donated something to the yeshiva or to the shul, and you hear someone ask, who gave it? Wow, it's so great. You shouldn't jump and say, me. You should say, well, what difference does it make who? Baruch Hashem, someone did it. There was one yeshiva, a guy donated sugar, 20 years, nobody ever saw that he puts the sugar there. He came, he checked that no one sees, no one comes to the kitchen, he runs quickly, get the sugar from his bag, he puts it over there. That's the days before they had cameras everywhere. Today you want to do an anonymous mitzvah, you can't. One guy gave $1 million check to the yeshiva. When they come to the bank, the teller says, I'm very sorry, the giver of the check, he forgot to sign the check. So he said, it's strange, I saw him signing the check in front of my eyes. He said, I'm sorry, sir, look. I called him up. He said, Moshe, you know, beautiful that you gave a check, but why you didn't sign it? He said, I wanted to give an anonymous donation. This ink evaporates after a few minutes. Sometimes you find an ambulance in the neighborhood, Atzala, somebody doesn't feel good by the neighbor. Right away, audience, 500 people, like this. Give the people privacy. Maybe they're embarrassed that he has to go to the hospital. Maybe they take him half naked. Maybe it's a woman. The news. What happened? Take picture, tomorrow it's in the newspaper. A person should always make sure everyone he meets to tell him first hello. Whether he's a Jew, whether he's a Goy. And also it's permitted to say hello to a woman. Even though some people are angels, they don't say hello to a woman. Fine. If they want to be strict, fine. The question is it allowed? The Gdolei Ador say hello to women. Shalom, Mrs. Cohen. That's it. That's the minimum of the Derech Eretz. Sometimes you don't have to say hello. People go like this with the head. It's also good. You got the point. The Gemara brings an example from Rabbi Yochanan. Aya makdim lomar shalom lekulam. Not one time a person told him hello before he said first. Even to goyim. And they explain, it comes from the pasuk, David HaMelech wrote in Tehillim, Lamedaled, Bakesh Shalom Verotfeu. Run to say hello to people. A few explanations to this pasuk. Someone who received from his friend a gift by a messenger, FedEx, UPS, whatever. Or if it's a local messenger, his son, his friend, deliver it. He has to make sure to call him, to thank him, and to praise him. If it's food, wow, what a great food you say, thank you very much, it's exactly what we needed. To make him feel good about his effort. It's also gratitude. If a person has a delegation with another person, instead of cursing him and wishing him to die, better to pray that he will do tshuva and correct what he did bad. Why? Not only it's the right thing to do, it will help the person himself. When Hashem comes to judge him, he will take into consideration that whenever he was right with the delegation against his enemies, he did not wish them bad, the opposite. He wanted them to do tshuva. So Hashem says, since you behave to other people like that, the way I judge people is measure for measure. I also judge you with mercy. You judge people with mercy, I judge you also with mercy. It's very important. It's worth it for the actual person.
When someone doesn't have God, he can't have mercy.
Yeah, well, we're not talking a real mercy here. We're just talking, we're wishing him to do tshuva. We have to wish to every Jew to do tshuva. From the smallest one to the biggest one, because everyone has to correct something. When a person comes to shul in the morning and he puts talit, usually the common thing is, shh, someone's got it in his eye. It's not Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, you bring the whip, fine. But now, wow, person gets it right inside his eye. Don't have to go like this. Forget about it. You go slow like this, it's fine. You don't have to kill anyone. When a person walks in the street, he shouldn't go like this, like a radar. Why? המבין יבין. Chazal says in the Gemara, in Eruvin, page Kuf, page 100, Gemara Maseret Eruvin. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ilmale nitna Torah, if we did not receive the Torah, היה עלינו ללמוד דרך ארץ מהחתול ומהתרנגול. If we did not receive the Torah and we wanted to learn how to behave, we had to learn from the cat and the chicken and the rooster. What can you learn from the cat? That he goes to the bathroom, he flush. He cover it. Who gave the cat wisdom that what he just did is stink and it's bad, but he knows how to cover it with sand? Hashem wanted people to look at the cat and to learn how to behave, because any animal teach you something. And then the rooster, what can you learn from the rooster? When he wants to be intimately with his female, he doesn't attack right away. He comes, he goes around, he's been very nice. You know. And then after she gets in a good mood, then he moved to the next step. This is the Gemara. Something tells me that I shouldn't take that question.
Rambam, he actually goes against it. He says, do not be so active with your wife like a rooster.
No, that's talking about frequency, not how to behave in the actual. Frequency. Ay. When a person say to a woman hello, it's permitted, but it's not allowed to start, how are you, how you've been, how do you feel? That's already one step further. Hello, and right away run away. Derech Eretz. More than that already, should know where to draw the line. Person that have animals has to make sure to feed them before he feeds himself. So he gives them whatever he gives them, they put, they eat, and then he can sit and relax. When a person goes to parks to eat, picnic, whatever, not allowed to leave the place before he makes sure the entire place is clean. Now you may say, okay, when I got there it was dirty. So now I'm going to clean the park now because I had 15 minutes here on the table? Depend. If there are goyim around you, the goyim doesn't know, they do not know when you came there it was dirty already. When you leave, they look at the place, say, look at them, like animals. You have no choice. To prevent Chilul Hashem, you have to clean the place. Especially the dirt that you put, your kids, little children, they throw wraps everywhere. Yeah.
A very practical question. When you go to a public bathroom, and you didn't make it dirty, it was already dirty before you. Right? But you walk out with the yarmulke.
No, that people knows already that it's always dirty. Public bathrooms are always dirty.
You didn't clean them after you?
No, people knows already. Public bathroom, that's it. You know, they made an experiment. They put in Manhattan a bathroom, and outside, it's glass doors. From outside it looks like a mirror. The person inside the bathroom, he sees all the people walks by. So now, not one person was able to sit and to do what he needs to do the entire day. Why? Everyone who comes, he closed the thing. From outside it looks like a mirror, so he assumes from inside it's also like that. But when he goes inside, all of a sudden he see somebody come. Not one person was able to focus. Imagine the embarrassment in Yom Adin. One tiny things like this, when you know in your mind that no one sees you. In your mind you know, but you still, you cannot function. What happens if cats and dogs and squirrels come to your backyard for food? Do you have an obligation to feed them, or only if you own them you have an obligation to feed them?
Only if you own them.
What do you think?
Only if you own them.
The answer is only if you own them. Why? If you don't own them, you do not own them, they will come every day now. Become a hassle. They don't leave you alone. We have we made that mistake. We gave food for the squirrels. Now there's a parade every morning. They can't stand online like this by the glass, by the deck. But not only that, now they already know, they're so clever, so they already go to the shed in the backyard. They stand on the roof of the shed to look into the laundry room. Why? Once they see the light in the laundry room goes off, that means now clothes coming from the laundry room to the kids. So they know in 5 minutes from now the food will be served. So one calls the entire gang. The Gemara says, the mice are wicked. Reshaim ninhu. The achbarim, rishi ninu, the Gemara says. They're wicked. Why they're wicked? They're very righteous. But for us they're wicked. But for themselves they're very righteous. Why? When one discovers a pile of dough, he doesn't eat alone. He called all his friends. All of a sudden, 500 rats. I said, it's very nice. We should learn from them. If one person found out food, call all the poor people, come join me. No, he's hiding. I have for tomorrow. The people starve and he's hiding.
So once you start feeding them, you're obligated to keep doing it?
No, once you start to feed them, then they won't leave you alone, so you don't start.
No, but I mean, if you did start, right? Stop.
It's a hard question. You don't have an obligation. You can stop any time, but if you already started, you might as well give them something. Also, not derech eretz to whistle. Walks in the street and whistling. You know? No. That's one of the things that the parents say, if you don't eat, Abulele would come. Some of it enter the Torah somehow, these stories. You know? Well, technically, you can say that whistling is playing music, like clapping or drums. Not good to whistle at all, even not on Shabbos. When a person comes into his friend's house, he's not allowed to enter the door, even if he is there every day. Sometimes he knocks and walks in. Why? He's thinking, I'm doing the housewife a favor until she's going to come to open the door. It's a big house. I knock or ring the bell and open. Expecting me. It's not derech eretz. You should wait until they open the door. Person should not enter his own house before he knocks on the door. He can open, but he has to knock first. Yes. He has to knock on the door.
Even if you're a little low?
Huh?
Even if you're
No, if you leave. That was a good one. If you live alone, who you have to worry about? Maybe the walls would lose their privacy. A person has to clean his feet very good before he walks into someone's house. That's in places that you don't have to take the shoes off. But if you have to take the shoes off, anyway they're off, so what's the problem? If you go into a house of Korean or any one of the other idol worshippers, and they have a custom that they never walk into their house with shoes. Doesn't matter, dirty, not dirty, they always leave the shoes outside. So one person that is a servant of Hashem is thinking, what, I'm going to follow the laws of this idol worshipper? The answer is, it's no problem to take the shoes off. That's not idol worshipping. If you need to do something that falls into the category of his religion, that's a different story. Then you're not allowed to do it. But if something like this, taking the shoes off, is not a part of religion, you can walk in, you can take the shoes off. It's derech eretz. You should have to do it. Now, when you come to wash your hands in people's home, make sure you have a towel first. Not like these people who make netilah and begin to walk in a house and drip all over the floor until the whole house is water already now. This is another common problem. Yeah.
Are you allowed to block somebody's driveway, even though it's not a legal driveway? It happens to me all the time. And the guy's a yeshiva guy, he tells me it's not legal anyways. I'm blocking it. I said, well, listen, it's basic decency. You don't block my driveway.
Well, if the car is already inside, how is he going to block the car?
No, he blocks the car. Tells me to go through the other way. So
There's another way to go out?
yeah, but you know, I sometimes.
Yeah, well, you have to understand. If a person makes an illegal driveway, he's the criminal, not the people who park in the sidewalk. However, sometimes a person already violated something, but he doesn't deserve such a punishment that you lock him there for the whole 24 hours. You know, it can be an emergency. I'll tell you a story, you get the point. One guy, he was a truck driver, but what truck? The trucks that make cement, you know, those that has a mixer on the back. So they make cement, you know. So this guy lives in Hulon in Israel. And he goes crazy if someone parked near his driveway. He made himself a long driver for the truck. He comes in reverse. You know, it's hard with these trucks. You have to fit exactly. So if the cars are too close to the driveway, he cannot brake. He cannot park. He goes crazy. So he puts signs. Careful. Don't park. This is the line. Don't move. One day he comes. He's very tired after a long day. You see? So not only someone blocking the driveway, he's parking inside his driveway. 8 o'clock in the evening, he went crazy. Begins to run, nobody comes. I'm going to teach this guy a lesson he will never forget. He went in reverse, opened the mixer, all the cement he poured on a brand new car. Nice blue brand new car. Real story. He covered the whole car. Then he took like a shovel or a spoon, and he made sure he closed, you know, on the side that he won't be able to open. So the entire car is full of cement now. He said, now I can relax. So he parked the truck as much as he can, half in, half out. Okay. He comes inside the house, and you see the nerve that the people have. All of a sudden, the light went on. The entire family, surprise! Happy anniversary! What? Mazal Tov, Abba! What? We got you, all of us chip in, we got you the car of your dream. Brand new car. What? In the driveway, you didn't see? And it wasn't insured. Brand new car, no plates. Didn't pay attention. But you do to others, you always do for yourself. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, always for yourself. Anger. When a person bought something and he paid high price, you're not allowed to tell him, chaval, over there they have 30% off. Unless if you know you can return it. If you bought it in Costco, places that it's easy to return, then you're mitzvah to tell him. Why? Lo ta'amod al dam recha. Your friend just lost $100 on the price. You can get it cheaper. But if he cannot return it, so you first ask him, tell me, this store has what's the return policy? You're allowed to return it if you want? No, that's it. It's a final sale. Tell them you did very good. Great price, great item, everything beautiful. But you're not allowed to tell him, oh, I could have gotten it for you half a price. Chaval, why you don't ask me? It's too late already. He's eating his heart. A person found a girl to marry her, and she's the ugliest girl in the world. And he comes to you and he says to you, how is my future wife? You have to tell him she's beautiful. The Gemara has this case. The Gemara says, what do you mean? You're allowed to lie? The Torah says you have to stay away from lies. The Gemara say, it's not a lie, it's sheker l'shem shalom. You're going to make, already before the marriage started, it's going to be a war. Hashem erased his name to make peace between husband and wife. You want to go and instigate? One of the worst things to do is someone who instigates between a wife and her husband. On the other hand, the Mishnah say, those are the things that a person does. Hashem gives him some of the reward in this world, and the main reward is waiting for the life of eternity. One of the things on the list is making peace between husband and wife. That they have a fight, they want to break up, it's worth to invest an hour or two here and there to make peace in a house. When a person makes peace between husband and wife, one thing he has to check before, if they keep Taharat Mishpacha, she goes to the mikveh. If she does not go to the mikveh, he's not allowed to make peace between them. He can ask them. He asked the husband. Tell me, you keep the laws of Nida? What is this? He already got the answer. So he has to tell them, you want to have success in your marriage, this is what you have to do. Maybe they don't know. He will agree. If you show interest, then you make peace between them. But if you say, it's not for us, I'm not interested, not allowed to make peace between them. Why? For their own good, because when you put them back together every night, they make Isurei Karet, worse sins. One is in the worst category of the Torah. So better for them that they won't be together. They don't know it, but you're doing them a favor. But it's not only that. They asked the Chazon Ish. There was one secular Jew in jail. So they asked the Chazon Ish, we have to collect money to save him from jail. It's Pidyon Shvuim. So in the beginning, of course, Pidyon Shvuim. Then he asked them, wait a minute, is he keeping Taharat Mishpacha? They said, no, he's a secular Jew. So keep him there for his own good. No mitzvah to take him out. Unless if he promised that he's going to keep Taharat Mishpacha. If he lies, he lies. It's not our fault. If he says, yeah, I promise you, you take me, I give you my word, I keep it 100%, you're going to go to the mikveh, everything. But if he says, no, don't, hey, Rabbi, you want to help me? Help me. Don't force me to be religious. No problem, I help you. Stay here for the rest of your life. I want to help you because Hashem say to help you. But the same Hashem say, you have to keep this mitzvah. So what, you want to make me a partner to your crime? Now, better to give tzedakah to poor people when they don't know. Either you put it in a home, or you send them anonymously, or you send it with a messenger that you trust, that they won't get embarrassed. When people knock on your door to ask for donation, more important than the actual amount is how you give it. Which means you offer him to eat and to drink, you offer him to sit and to rest. You want to eat, you want to drink, you're okay, you're hot, you're cold, sit, relax. And you always make sure you give him the feeling that you're very happy that he came, even if you're not so happy. You have large bills now. He came in the wrong timing for you. One thing for sure, you don't ever show him a sour face. If you give him $1 million with a sour face, or you give him $100 with smile and tap him on his shoulder, it's better to give him 100 with a smile than to give him $1 million with a sour face. And the Gemara say, there is a person who feed his father delicious ducks and go to hell, and there's a person who make his father work the hardest job and go to heaven. How can it be? Makes his father a worker, goes to heaven, and he feeds his father the ducks, and he goes to Chas v'Shalom hell? How can it be? The answer is, he feeds him duck. Say, ugh, I'm tired of you already. Every day I have to cook for you. This is not a mitzvah. Or he makes his father work very hard in a business because they cannot afford another worker. Or they say, Abba, forgive me. If I only could afford, I'll get another person. I hope you forgive. I'll do my best. Rest a little bit. He apologized a lot. The father doing it from his heart. He wants to help his son. So we see that the way you do the mitzvah is very important. Not only what you did, it's how you did. It's not less important than what you do. And let's talk a little bit. When a person is on a public phone, today it's not so common, everyone has a phone. People, on the day that they're born, their parents already get them cell phone today, in a basket. in a Brit. The Moel say, what's this? We need to reach him when we need. A cell phone. You know, I miss him maybe, he puts the camera on. But, you know, sometimes there's a public phone in a hotel or place, you have to call overseas, the airport. If you see a big line, just speak what you must speak. So how is grandma, how is this, how is the birthday, the people waiting online, they have an emergency. Just speak what you must speak. No lines, no lines. If you know you have a long talk, better to let the person behind you go first. If you go to a store, supermarkets, and you see a goy comes, and you have 3, 4 items, and you have a huge, you know, like in Costco, it's very common, you have 5,000 things, because you have 17 kids. So you have 5 semi-trailers, and this Vinny, he has a little challah, you know, 2 croissants, and a salad thing. It's very common. They drive all the way to Costco, 3 items. So how do you let him wait 20 minutes until you finish? Tell him, sir, you can earn mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem doing nothing. Sir, go in front of me. Wow, he's so impressed. Yes.
Some people religiously act very unmodestly. What's the right hand of how you approach him to correct the situation? I mean, you're not a rabbi.
The Gemara said that one of the big rabbis in the time of the Gemara, he saw a woman walks in the street with a clothes that is not modest. From the language of the Gemara, it means that the color was too tacky, too flashy, that attracts the eyes of the men on the street, not the way the women dress today. So he went and ripped that clothes off her. That rabbi, he ripped it off. And then they say, I'm strict. You know, so, wait. No, it was a top coat. No, don't be too fanatic. So, what happened? She sued him in a bed din. He had to pay her, I think, 400 zuzim. Why? Because she was a goya. She wasn't a Jew. So the judges say, if it was your sister from your own nation, you have an obligation. But since it's not a part of our nation, we don't have an obligation. Since we don't have an obligation, who gave you permission to rip it from her? If you apply the laws of the Chachamim the way they used to live today, I remember, I'll tell you a story and we'll finish with that. I remember 15 years ago, I went to give a lecture in Brooklyn, and who was there? The head of the crime world in Israel, the biggest criminal in the history of Israel. His whole body is tattoos, all face scars, the murders, drug dealing, mafia, collection, was in jail in Italy, robbing boats in the middle of the ocean. You never saw such thing. Just you look at the person. He told me a story. One time I went to Manhattan to buy his girlfriend a jewel. The Korean guy, as soon as he walked in, take for free, take. He said, well, what do you mean? I want to pay you. No, I don't want money, take. Just from looking at him. So anyway, one time he accidentally came to my lecture with his brother. His brother is okay person, not a criminal. He was by him, he brought him to the shiur, and then he woke up and he started to do tshuva and he became religious. Really religious, but really religious. So one time he saw someone did something to me, he called him up. He said to him in Hebrew, תשמע, אם אתה לא מבקש עכשיו סליחה מהרב מזרחי, אני בא עכשיו לתגן אותך במחבת. Translation. He told him first who he is, and that person right away, as soon as he heard the voice, already fainted. He said, if you don't apologize right now, I come right now to your house, and I will cook you in the pot. I will fry you in the pot, not cook you, fry you. Or maybe you prepare, I will drown you in a mikveh. I had to beg him, relax, don't worry. It was like fire. There are people like this. This is not our way. Hashem will see you next Tuesday.